Is making a strong point, isn't he? It's well and good to sit down and blame the president for a number of things when part of the reason why there might be issues with the way things are carried out is because you failed to do your duty. 7 months without a budget this year.
Well, thank you very much first for having me here. And I would just want to put some word of caution to all of us. Let it not be that we are here to come and throw aspersions on one another. No,
no, no. We are here so that Nigerians will understand what is going on.
Let me say my point.
Okay.
Because from the very points being raised already, honestly, I'm not comfortable.
What is making you uncomfortable?
Because, you see, if we come out to begin to place issues in a manner that, for me, I see it as already trying to either package one arm in bad light, they will not be addressing the issues.
No, we have...
And so, excuse me.
Okay, please. No, but it's important I clarify this, because you seem to be alleging that there is an agenda.
I'm not saying that there is any agenda.
The only agenda here is to bring people who are part of this to respond to the issue so that Nigerian viewers can be educated.
Allow me to talk for myself?
Yes, please, go ahead.
If you want to do the talking, then I listen.
No, 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 I'm just clarifying.
But if you want me to talk, please let me just raise my point.
I'm listening.
I've not even gone far. You are already blocking me.
I'm just clarifying.
I'm aware of what I want to say.
Okay, please go ahead.
And this is my brother.
Please go ahead, sir.
I don't think there is anybody who is an enemy to one another here. But the point I'm trying to make is that I'm trying to put, for us as we discuss, a tone that should enable us achieve the core objective of why we're here. Incidentally, you said it's the core.
Yes.
So for me, the point I want to make is this. You see, we're in a democracy, like the Honorable Attorney General has said. And within the context of democracy, there are so many things that have been thrown out there. And at the end, whether we like it or not, it will be by negotiation that issues will be resolved. And so these discussions here, like you rightly pointed out, is for us to understand issues. Now, the most critical point he has raised here is the issue of a budget being laid before the National Assembly. And for 7 months, this budget not been attended to. To me, that appears a little bit inflammatory, because over the time this budget was laid, a lot of issues have been discussed. The media has covered so many of these issues. And if you look at it, at the time the budget was laid, implementation was not even up to 20%. And Mr. President, in his speech, budget speech, alluded to the fact that he will wish, before the end of the year, for us to at least get up to 50%. Facts are facts. You can go back and check, when did we get to 50%? It took us into this year, 2018. Now, the point is, this is the Honorable Attorney General. He's the chief lawmaker, or the law, what did they call it, officer of the federal government.
Country, yes.
The appropriation is the law, is an act. And that act has a life of its own, which is 12 calendar months. Our constitution is very clear that we are to operate our appropriation, our budget, for 12 calendar months. Okay. This present 2017 was signed in June.
Let me ask you this question. You're therefore essentially saying you do not accept any responsibility for any delay caused to the appropriation, which might have impacted on the work that the police are supposed to do or other security services?
Two things. I do not accept that we were responsible for the delay. And I will also say that the delay has not impacted, because the 2017 budget was being implemented. And by our constitution, even if a budget is not passed, the first 6 months, the constitution allows the executive to implement last year's budget up to 50%. So
in your view, therefore, the communique that you issued yesterday, including the underlying threat to impeach the president, is in order?
Well, that is something entirely different. And to my mind, if you want to have a discussion around that, that is something entirely different. The point he has raised here
And you've answered that, and I'm
Yeah,
now trying to move the conversation on.
As far as I'm concerned, the National Assembly had a joint session, and a resolution was passed. And for me, that is where it ends.
Let me bring in the constitutional expert here, the lawyer. I mean, we've got the Attorney General, but in some ways you can be considered an independent. Given what we see going on, are the roles of the two arms of government, in this case the executive and the National Assembly that we're talking about, are they playing their roles as they should, as stipulated by the Constitution?
The foundation and basis of government is to provide good governance for citizens, to make living conditions in a country conducive and acceptable and good for citizens. And both arms of government as well, the judiciary, which is the third arm, are all supposed to be working for the common good of the people of this country. It's been very disappointing to see that right from the onset of this government, and that includes the executive and the legislature, that the relationship has not worked out in a way that serves the common good. The conflict between the executive and the legislature has been a disappointing one, because that conflict has meant that so much that needs to be done has fallen by the wayside on the altar of politicking and politics. And this started right from the point at which the election into principal offices or presiding offices in the National Assembly was going on. The conflict between the executive and the legislature started at a point, and the executive has not hidden the fact that it was not happy the way the leadership of the National Assembly emerged. And I think that that has had its impact in the relationship between both arms of government, and it shouldn't be so.
Let me bring the Attorney General back in here. The perception, if we're to be honest, is that the executive arm of government is using institutions to hound people that are critical of it. How do you respond to that allegation?
Well, my immediate reaction to it is you have to look at the issues and not the personalities. And I think time is ripe in this country where we have to start separating individuals from the institutions. The fundamental issue for consideration when an allegation is made is whether there indeed exists an issue or there exists none. If, for example, someone is alleged to have committed an offense, and then there are reasonable grounds for suspicion that there should be investigation, are we saying, in essence, simply because he belongs to the executive, that no investigation should be conducted? Are we saying, in essence, that simply because he belongs to the legislature, the National Assembly, the Senate, or the House of Reps, that he should not be investigated simply because he belongs to that institution?
No, but given the significance of some of these offices, isn't it true that the manner and way in which you conduct these investigations can either bring the institutions into disrepute or actually still continue to